Okay, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back, by the way. We are back to the show that never ends, as they say. And we have seen now two new episodes of Finding Bigfoot. One of them was online, and that was last week, and it was an excellent episode. I really enjoyed it, and those on the panel who have seen it, I'm sure will have their own contributions to make about that particular episode. But first, I think Shane's got some announcements that he needs to make, so I'm going to turn the mic over to Shane, let him tell us what he's got to say.
Hey, this is Henry's show for the next 2 weeks. Yeah, I will not be able to do the show myself for the next 2 weeks because of work. Hopefully, we'll be back in action in full swing on the 18th. Is Finding Bigfoot airing on the 18th, Henry?
I think so.
All right, so I'll be back. I'll be back in the host seat on the 18th, and
Yep.
all I gotta say is that 10 out of 10 on both episodes. I really like it. My favorite one on the online has to be that woman that started crying. You guys will get into it. She was more believable.
I agree.
Yeah.
And we can see Freddy.
Hey, so
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead, turn this over back to Henry. Henry's going to take over for the next 2 weeks. I may drop in. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. All right, everybody. Have a great new year. I will see you here on the 18th. Good night, everybody.
All right. Now we are fixing to launch full bore into this. I know that two of us on the panel have seen the online episode that they broadcast, that they debuted last week, where they went to Tennessee. So Freddie and I, we're gonna talk about that episode first, Jennifer, and then we're gonna talk about tonight's episode, which I enjoyed. Not as much as I enjoyed the online episode, but still, and I did enjoy the online episode they had on last week. But me and Freddie are going to talk about the online episode. So, Freddie, they went to Tennessee, back to Tennessee, I should say.
Yeah.
For the online episode last week, and they went to an area which is a military testing ground, I guess. That's where they built the nuclear bombs, the ones that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yep.
So I thought that was interesting that they were actually in the area parallel to this restricted area. And what's that?
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, that was near it, but I really didn't see, what's that word? Even though they was around the area, it just wasn't that interesting to me. And some of the stuff that they might have heard or might have come across, it really didn't tickle me that much being that close to that restricted area. So I really can't say. I mean, that's what I was seeing.
Well, let's see. They talked to several eyewitnesses. There was two gentlemen who were driving, and they saw one in the road, and then all of a sudden there was one behind them throwing rocks at them and making vocalizations, almost like it was distracting them. Like it was trying to say, hey, I'm over here. Don't pay attention to the one that's in front of you. Pay attention to this one over here. Using like a distraction tactic.
Yeah, I know how that is.
I've read about that before, where they've used distraction tactics.
I've had juveniles. A good example, this past summer or last summer, I was in the apple orchard. I went around the back corner, and this is before the game commission went in there and bush hogged. I got around the corner and started walking straight. I heard two big knocks behind me, about 35, 40 yards. So I went to turn, and I said, no, I better not. I turned back around, kept moving forward, and that's when I saw two juveniles right across in front of me. So that one behind me distracted me. So those two could get across there without me noticing them. But I was so used to it that because they've done that to me quite a few times during the summer, and when I heard it knock behind me, I almost fell for it. Then I said, not this time. When I did, I'll tell you this much. The way they ran, you could put a level on their head, and that level would stay perfectly straight when they ran across there. But they do that. That's very interesting how they do it.
Oh yeah, that's what that's something that they're known for doing. They're known to for
They're great. I agree with you with that. But
so what you're saying, Freddie, is that the way they run, they don't bounce at all. They don't move up and down.
No, see, a human, when they walk, we straighten our legs out, which
Right.
causes us to get a up and down walking and up and down running.
Okay.
Watch does not straighten its leg out of the way. If you look at Patty, when she
Yeah.
walked, her left and right leg stayed bent.
Okay.
Even when she threw that right leg up
Right.
and made that stride, you notice her left leg was still bent.
Right.
That's how they can move, and that's how they move so fast and quiet.
they walk with their knees bent.
Exactly.
And they walk almost like a cross-country skier almost.
You're exactly right.
It's the kind of motion, when you watch the PG film, I mean, you can see her utilizing that type of movement.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've seen, so that makes 4 juveniles I've seen in my area that done the exact same thing. When they ran, they stayed just perfectly level. And it's pretty interesting how they do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do that to distract. But the way they were talking, they seen one out the road. I guess it was like he was just standing there looking at them. And when they got out, I think when they got out of the vehicle, that's when that one behind them started chucking rocks out to distract them.
Oh yeah, and I mean that I actually think that's a good survival tactic. To be quite honest, I think it's a good survival tactic, especially if they're protecting a young or protecting a juvie or whatever.
Bingo. I've learned that. I tried to show Daniel Benoit on ECBRO. I tried to show him stuff like that, but whenever I got somebody with me, nothing happens. It's always when you're by yourself.
Yeah.
I guess that's because they feel more safe with just one person than 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Let's see. They did their first night investigation. No, actually, they had a town hall meeting at the Museum of Science Technology in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and they had several eyewitnesses that came forward. We just mentioned one set of eyewitnesses, and there was a lady and her husband, and the lady was visibly upset by what she had seen. She was still very emotional about it, even about, I guess, I can't remember exactly how long it had been since she'd had her sighting, but she was very emotional about it.
I'll tell you, when you see something like that's that size, it does send a shock down your spinal cord and through your body. You know how like you go into a spook house and all of a sudden you get scared, you get this cold feeling going down your back?
Yep.
That's what you feel when you first see one.
Yep.
When I had that one walk out in front of me in 81, it felt like I had 1,000,000 ants on my back. And I was breaking out in sweats.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know about anybody else, but that's the way I feel.
Yeah, that was.
So I can imagine for a woman it would be shocking or something like that.
But it's so unbelievable because, for me, I had heard about this and I had watched a couple of episodes of Finding Bigfoot and thought, gee, this is kind of interesting. But, never expected that I would find or actually see one. So when it actually happened, I mean, I just, it took a while for me. I mean, still, in some ways, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. It's
Well,
just very difficult to really, I don't know, to have that kind of experience.
When you come down,
it's been almost. Sorry, Freddie.
Oh, sorry. When you come down to my area, camping out this coming up summer, you will see what I put Daniel and them through, and what they experienced while they was there. See, when I took Daniel up to his camp spot last year, I told him he's like where to go, and they had 4 or 5 of them come in on him. So you come to my area, they come in. I had 2 boys from Maryland. They heard the whoop and heard the running. It scared the crap out of them.
It probably wouldn't scare me anymore, but it would still, the tingles would still be there.
I wish Henry would come down and experience it one time, man. He would really have a blast. Yeah. I mean, you'll hear whoops, you'll hear knocks, you'll hear running, you'll hear chattering.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is 17 years after my sighting, I still can't wrap my mind around what I saw, and what I saw was pretty massive as well. I mean, it was huge.
Yeah, it is.
It was absolutely humongous. I mean,
how big do you think it was?
The one I saw, I mean, it was at least maybe 4 feet wide, and it stood probably about 7.5, 8 foot tall, but it was standing in a ditch, so I really couldn't gauge exactly the height of it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, but when you have one stand in front of you from his feet to his head, it's like looking at a brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The shoulders,
I can imagine.
The shoulders on the one I seen was about 4.5 foot wide, and the girth was, my God, it makes a black bear look like a little puppy.
Mm-hmm.
They are huge.
Yeah.
They really are.
The one I saw was a juvie, but I think there was some of the, what did they call that? Whatever the I don't know how I can't describe what it feels like when they're around and they have some of these, infrasound. That's what I'm the word I was looking for, infrasound. Because I felt something. I don't know what it was, but I felt something. And I had a dog with me. And it was not a dog who behaved real well. But the dog never made a sound. I mean, this dog would bark at, a leaf falling. Never made a sound. Stood stock still with me. How do you explain that? I mean, just really, how do you explain that? So. Yeah,
that's a good point. But this one woman, I mean, she was very shaken up by what she had seen.
Right.
It had been, I guess, maybe a year, maybe 2 years since she had her encounter, and she was still pretty shaken up by it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the first night investigation, they did hear some howls. I don't know if they were Sasquatch or not, but they did hear something, and they heard wood knocks, and there were no musical stings. They are listening to us. No musical stings.
You noticed that, Henry?
Enhanced sounds.
Oh.
They enhanced the wood knock. I could hear the wood knocking. I could hear the...
That's a big difference that I've noticed since which was, over a year ago. I really saw an episode.
They have cut out the musical stings. They've cut out they've enhanced the sounds.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing, and they did a great job on this episode. They had they saw a couple of military choppers flying over.
Oh, really?
Interestingly enough, yeah. Yeah, but they were close to this military facility, so
Yeah.
that's it's kind of not too unexpected
Right.
that there would be military choppers flying over them and things like that.
Well, isn't military areas aren't they often frequented by Bigfoot because it's safer and it's restricted area usually.
That has happened, yeah. There have been soldiers who say that they've seen these creatures close to the military bases.
Mm-hmm.
We got a Fort Pickett down here in Appomattox.
Yep.
It's got a female Squatch running around.
Hmm.
They got her on floor around the ammo depot down there.
Oh, the ammo depot? Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, what she does, she just when they go out on maneuvers, she'll take and throw rocks at them when they come out and do night maneuvers.
Hmm.
She doesn't bother them. She'll take and chuck a few rocks at them and go about her business. And she's still down there. It's been about 10 years. She's still down there, but they won't admit that. They won't let no one know.
Oh, of course. I mean,
No.
I really
They
don't
have-
blame them. No.
they have to take an official position. Oh, there's no Squatch here. There's nothing here.
Yeah, but I think it was in the 70s, middle 70s, I think. The Army actually came out with something regarding them.
1948, Army Corps of Engineers acknowledged Sasquatch as a natural species of North America.
Well, that was back in the 70s in Washington State. They included it in the Environmental State Atlas, or the State Environmental Atlas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Washington State. Yeah, that the government actually did acknowledge that Sasquatch existed in Washington State. So yeah, it's not unprecedented for the government to have done something like this.
Yeah, but it's interesting that Sasquatch would be around, some kind of a military base. It's just, to me, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they know that no one's going to mess with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Squatch is hybrid human, right?
Hybrid human?
Yep.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
But they don't know what the other part is.
Correct.
They know it's a human to a point. But
Humanoid,
they don't know what the other half is.
Right.
I read that the other day. One of Henry's good friends, Melba Ketchum.
The one thing that they did on this online episode is they called together a bunch of people. They kind of got the word out through word of mouth to get people to volunteer, to get people together, and they gathered about maybe 50 to 75 people, maybe more, and they searched a grid, and they searched.
Did they do that? Okay, that's really good.
They've done it before on the show.
Right. Yeah, they have. Yeah.
But this was this is like the second time they've done this on the show, where they've actually had people search a grid, like different areas and things like that, and they found some interesting but kind of inconclusive evidence. They couldn't really put their finger on, yes, this was done by a Sasquatch. So they had their final night investigation, and they heard some vocalizations and some knocks. The one thing they did was they had, I think it was Matt and Renee were walking down in this valley. Cliff and Bobo were up on these high ridges, and they were doing vocalizations back and forth, and kind of to see if maybe they could lure one out into the valley. And they heard vocalizations and things like that, but they never could get it to come out into the valley. So
it's very rare that they can do that.
Yeah.
But the only way I could see a Squatch coming out in a valley is if they're, say like hypothetically out in Wyoming, out in the mountainous area, and there's no one around except for them, and the Squatches don't feel threatened. Then that's why I think they might come down.
Mm-hmm.
But being in like with my area, you don't hear no wolf's nut. You hear chattering, tree knocks, and wolves. As far as I've heard no yells or bobos or cliffs or renays or anything like that. So, for my area, even though I'm right off Blue Ridge Parkway, I'm still close to a town like Stewart-Straff and then Sharonda and Waynesboro. But the further up past Sharonda you go up on the Parkway. Now, up there, you get some vocalizations. A preacher I know's got vocalizations he recorded.
Yeah.
But
as far as Freddie, what rating would you give that online episode? As far as like on a scale from 1 to 10?
I'd say about an 8.5 maybe.
I gave it a perfect 10. I mean, I thought it was an excellent episode. I gave it a perfect 10. I thought they did a great job. They did everything right for this episode. I thought they really did.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean,
Okay, now let's get to tonight's episode, which was the return to television.
Yes.
And they were in New Jersey. How you doing?
How you doing? The Pine Barrens area is pretty well known for a number of things that they have. That they haven't been the only ones to investigate it.
Right. Yeah. Now, of course, I mean the Jersey Devil is the well-known legend in that area.
Right. So it was interesting that they had the they had this particular episode there, but yeah, there is a lot of. I mean, you don't think of New Jersey having much wild.
No, you don't. But up in the northern part of the state is where all the mountains are, and then that's where a lot of the.
They had mountains there.
That's where a lot of the reports come from.
Yeah.
And they call it Big Red Eye up there.
Yeah. My question is, how far off the Appalachian Trail are they in New Jersey?
Probably not far.
Well, let's see. I think they said they were like about a third of a mile down the hill, because there was this hill that this guy said he saw. These two guys, the one guy said that he and a friend of his saw one running up a hill.
Right. It came from a ravine across the road. That was the first one, right? Across the road, and they went up this very steep hill.
Yeah, and that guy had been collecting newspaper clippings and things like that of reports in that area since the 70s.
Right, since he had his sighting, yeah.
This is in Sussex County, New Jersey.
Okay.
So,
which is, I mean, from Sussex you cross into New York.
Yeah, they weren't very far from downtown Manhattan.
Yeah.
So, and the first guy, I mean, the first guy, he seemed to be pretty credible.
Relatively credible, yeah.
And then they had the first night investigation, and they heard some tapping, but that was about it.
They didn't come up with much on that one.
No, they didn't.
No.
Yeah, Freddie, what would you think of the guy's report when he saw the thing run up the hill?
It sounded. He had a kind of a quirk in his voice when he was talking about that. Because I was looking at his face when he was first trying to explain it, and then when he got out to the site, that was kind of a difference in the way he was
talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. But he said he kind of sounded really credible at the meeting, but he got him out to the thing, and he kind of had a little quirk in his voice. That's what I noticed. But I mean, it could have, could have been, because a number of people have said the exact same thing.
Right.
It wasn't from the right side of the road, it's from the left side of the road.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't running down the road while they drove by and looked at it.
True.
But yeah, he's saying, I don't know. He didn't sound too truthful out to the spot. That's what I say.
Well, sometimes I guess people can sound a little bit different in some contexts, I suppose.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting report, to be quite honest. And
yeah,
it was interesting, but it's got a little quirk in it.
And then they had the town hall meeting where they
right.
They talked to some witnesses. There was the one guy whose story I'm glad that they did not investigate. The guy who admitted he was
Hired a Kate.
yeah. The guy who admitted, he was in an altered state when he said he saw this thing tumbling down.
Yeah, that I don't know.
And I mean, I don't give that one too much credibility, because
I'm even surprised they put that one on.
Well, it was a town meeting, pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the best one the best one I like is where they was at that guy's cabin, and Bobo happened to see a bear. The way that guy was talking, and the way, I think it was his brother.
Yeah, yeah.
And the way, yeah. But he said it was walking and it just turned and looked at him, and crossed the fence. Across the fence.
Yeah, that was an interesting report.
Yeah.
I have to admit.
Yeah.
And also the one where the guy said he saw one almost looked like it was doing a one-armed push-up.
Right. Yeah, that one didn't seem that credible, but you don't know.
Right. No, you don't know. I mean, we may never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether that one was credible or not.
Yeah.
It was an interesting report, I have to say.
Yeah.
I kind of wrote it off as a bear. It may have been a bear. I mean, you never know.
That's what got me, because when Bobo says, "Look at this," he said it was standing on two legs. Bear does stand on two legs.
Yeah, on occasion they do.
But that bear had a tag in his ear, so that bear had to have been placed there.
Well, I'm not even sure that was a bear that was filmed right there.
No,
I don't know.
You could see it drop. When they looked at it, when they put that circle on, he dropped.
Uh-huh. Okay. I didn't see that.
And let's see. And of course, they had the special guest. They had a special guest this week, Cliff's buddy, the one and only Bobcat Goldthwait, the director of Willow Creek. Yeah, he was part of this episode this week, and he and Cliff went out and did a solo squatching expedition, while Matt, Renee, and Bobo went and investigated the reports.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Bobcat did a better imitation than Bobo did.
Yeah. Oh, then there was the woman that they talked to, Aunt Ida.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Woman
yeah.
She and her family saw one back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Right. I thought she was quite credible. I thought
that one to me was the most credible. Yeah, we're going to do a new feature here. Most credible report of the week.
Yeah.
It was hers.
Yep.
Aunt Ida, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because she was right exactly what she said when her dad said, "Don't you dare tell anybody."
Right.
It'll make you crazy.
Yeah.
And you won't get it, because in small communities, I was raised in a small farming community,
right.
And everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
So you say something, the whole town knows.
It knows it within a minute. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
the most now, Freddie, would you say that the most credible report on the online episode was the one woman that was really shaken up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so too. So for the online episode, it was the woman that was emotionally upset.
Yeah, you could see it in her face and hear it in her voice.
Yeah, yeah,
And the same with Aunt Ida. She certainly showed that.
yeah.
And you know, I remember my parents saying, you know, that about when we saw something we couldn't explain that was over, because we were right on Lake Superior. You know, you might call it a UFO, you might not, but you know, and they said exactly the same thing. You do not talk about it outside this house.
Mm-hmm,
You don't talk about that stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the way things were back then. You know, you didn't talk about
Could
things
not do
like
that.
that.
Live in a small town, you can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how it was. I mean, you know, Moneymaker was correct about that. You know, for all the faults what we always talk about Moneymaker,
Right.
all the things we always say about Moneymaker, he
He
was
was
right
right.
about this. He was right about this one instance for sure.
Yeah.
That boy who claimed that he come outside the tent and squat's throwing rocks at him,
Mm-hmm.
like Bobo said, look at Matt's face during the whole time the boy was talking. You could see that Matt was like, I think
Skeptical.
this guy's full of crap.
He's very skeptical. Yeah.
Now I got to give Matt one thing. I ain't too tickled about him, but when he sees bull crap, you can see it in his face.
It's on his face. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. He does. He calls it.
Yep.
If he sees it,
Just
if
like
he
that
sees
little
it, he
red,
calls it.
yeah,
Yeah.
just like that little redhead boy.
Yeah.
Every
Oh,
one
yeah.
of them had that look on their face.
Well, the Home Alone look.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah.
I'll give this show tonight. I'll give it about. I said 8.5. I'll give it about a 9.5.
I give it about about 9.5. Yeah, I mean it was a good one. Not as excellent as last week's, but I really did enjoy this one. And the addition of Bobcat was really good. And they heard some possible vocalizations on their last night investigation when they were out with with Bobcat rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was actually Bobcat's first time meeting Matt and Renee and Bobo. He knew
Yeah.
Cliff.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Cliff is actually in the extra extra scenes of Willow Creek. He's not in the movie itself. He was in a deleted scene.
Right. I like his excuse for making the movie, so he can go to Willow Creek and see what's really happened up there.
Right.
That was a good point, man. I laughed
Yeah.
at that.
That was very honest.
Yeah, it was cool though.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
Bobcat's into the subject. I mean, you saw the tattoo he had.
Yeah, I liked it. I might get one
Yeah.
like it.
I was digging the tat, and I don't have any tattoos, but I was digging his tat.
That would not be one I would get, but you know,
Wow.
to each his own. Huh?
Put that on the side of your leg. That'd look nice.
Yeah.
From your knees down. Yeah, baby. I'm a Bigfooter.
I know. Bobo's got one of a surfing squatch.
Oh, gosh.
Really? Where's he got that on his chest? I mean, on his back.
His arm. It's on his arms. On one of his arms. I've seen it. I've seen that tattoo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I met him in 2009, that's when I saw the tattoo.
How
He has a
crazy?
tattoo.
How crazy is he?
He's very much a surfer dude type.
What kind of
What
talk movie?
what you see on TV, that's Bobo.
He's just naturally laid out.
Yeah, laid back. Yeah, he's like,
Yeah, that's cool.
dude.
And Matt is obnoxious.
Yeah. And Cliff is the cool
Yeah, he's
analytical
normal.
dude.
He's the
Yeah.
only normal one.
Cliff's the cool analytical dude.
Right. And then Renee, who's always skeptical about everything.
I've never met Renee, so I can't gauge how Renee is in real life. I never met her.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine to be skeptical, but she's sometimes way over the top.
No, like I said, I've met 3 out of the 4 of them. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah. So does Matt still have a habit?
Uh-oh. I don't know.
That was the scuttlebutt for a long time.
Boy.
Yeah.
Folks, the opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the hosts or all the guests on the Looking for Bigfoot News Hour.
Okay.
Uh,
We'll get off that topic.
so yeah. So Jennifer,
The last one, you know, the episode today or tonight was the last person that they talked with or saw. That was well, the first one was Aunt Ida, right? And then the next one was the young man with the house. They just moved into his house.
yeah, that's right. And then the third one was the
Right,
two
and then
brothers.
the last one, which one was that? No, which one was
That was the 2 brothers.
Right, okay, yeah.
Well,
I did not...
They weren't brothers, they're brothers-in-law. I'm sorry, they're brothers.
Brother and brother-in-law, yeah. And, of course, they didn't interview the sister at all, did they?
No, they didn't interview the sister, but they interviewed the 2 brothers-in-law. So that was interesting. But yeah, it was a good episode. I enjoyed this. I've enjoyed this season quite a bit so far, I have to say. This has been a good season of Finding Bigfoot so far. So, Freddie, since this is also the Looking for Bigfoot News Hour, we understand you've had some things going on recently.
Oh man, I've had all sorts of crap going on.
No, we're talking about Bigfooting.
Hey, you gotta show us your new cast.
I'm pulling out. The other day when I was up there, I found a fox, a red fox that was. I really can't say it. Whatever it was, it grabbed it right behind the shoulders on both sides. It broke its neck, and I took a knife and cut up on each side of the ribs, up there to the backbone, and the ribs were completely crushed.
Ooh.
And his heart and lungs were looked like pudding.
Ooh.
So something grabbed it, shook it, and just chucked it over the ridge where I come up there. When I stopped, I didn't see it until I looked down.
Gosh.
Ooh. Well, maybe it had gotten in. Oh, look at that. Maybe it had gotten in the way of their getting a deer.
Who knows?
Believe it or not, I did not. That's the cast right there.
Oh, that's nice.
You got to expect with this here, see, we got more limestone and clay, so it's kind of hard to get a good, decent print.
Yeah.
And everything. But there was no puncture marks in him whatsoever.
Really?
It was dry saliva, but there was no fang marks like from a cat. Like the only animals that could have done it would have been a mountain lion, a wolf, or a pack of coyotes. Coyotes would have tore the threads.
Right.
A wolf,
So
we got grays, red, and timbers here. And if it was a wolf, it'd probably a red, but they would have left canine marks upper and lower.
Yeah.
And then you got the mountain lion. But those didn't do it because there was no canine, there was no puncture marks.
Right.
It looked like something grabbed it.
So it was a hand.
I don't know, it could have been. I couldn't, because I took my knife and I cut the hide all the way back up to the backbone on the left and the right side. And the ribs were completely crushed, and the heart and the lungs looked like pudding. And its neck was broken. It had been killed like that morning, about like 2 hours before it got there, because there was still blood coming out of its nose and mouth.
Oh my.
So it hadn't been dead.
So it was a fresh kill, huh?
Exactly. But
wow.
but I didn't see no leaves turned up around the area, and I walked about 20 yards up on top of the ridge, and I seen where something had moved around up there, but that could have been turkeys, you know. So I really can't say what killed it. But I'm going back up there again in the morning. I'm going back up to the reservoir, back up there to where that family group is. Now, if the Squatch did grab it, he could have chomped it and then chucked it. I don't know. I can't say one way or the other. But as far as I know is there's no canine marks in it.
There's no teeth marks on it in any way, shape, or form.
If you look at my video and my photographs, it was called Oddities. I just did it. It ain't but 10 minutes long. But you will see what I'm talking about when you look at the, I didn't skin it on the video. I didn't want to gross people out.
Yes,
so
thank you.
I held it and talked about it and everything. But there was no canine marks. The neck was broken, ribs crushed, and the vitals were pudding. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Dang.
But that is odd.
Very odd.
Very odd, yeah.
You know, and I got this track here about a half mile. What I did, I went down a trail that last year where I got a whooping and knockout, and I went down that trail about a half mile and took a right and went straight up on it and went straight up toward the top of the mountain. And I got about 20 yards from the top in a pine thicket, and that's where I found it at. So I'm gonna go past that tomorrow up toward the reservoir because there's a clan back there, where that big 11-footer is. So I'm gonna go back there because I've talked to 3 hunters this year, and they've done told me they've seen something big and grayish black.
Wow.
They look at it and they walk away. So I can't really say. It can't be a bear walking away, but this is always right there at dusk, going in toward dark when people come walking out. 'Cause right now, black powder's in. During rifle season, they're at the top of the mountain, up on the parkway where it's safe.
Right.
And black powder just come in a couple of days ago, or about a week or so ago, so they're slowly coming down at nighttime to feed. So I'll be looking for tracks. I'll be looking for breaks. I'll be looking for structures, and I'll be looking for hair and all that stuff. Because when I was up in this place, usually this time of year you hear crickets, you hear squirrels, you hear deer running around, you know, just stuff like that. But where I've been up in this area the past couple of days, it's been just dead quiet. Not a sound, not even a bird. So something's up in there. Now, like a couple of days ago, I heard a bunch of crows, but I heard a squawk. And it's sound. Now I've heard crows make a real kind of a deep sound, kind of like a like that. But this was deeper.
Oh my.
So I really can't say. But I'm gonna go up there and do some videoing and everything. I'm gonna see what I can come up with.
Oh wow.
And I'm gonna send Cliff that the photographs that I got from back in May where I had the family group, and I'm gonna send him the photo of the one back to me. See what he thinks about it.
Cool.
I got a friend of mine who's gonna clear that picture up to one of the 3 that I got on May 10th, where I got the 3 at the tree. The one that looks more interesting is the one on the left side of the tree over her shoulder here. You got a whole head looking from left, looking like if you're looking at me like this, I'm looking back down this way. Her head's going this way. You can see the cone head, the ears, the bridge, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, everything. But she was blonde. She was a blonde. It was a cinnamon blonde.
Wow.
So I'll send him that and see what he thinks and everything. So but I have been getting knocks and everything else up in there. That tells me that they're still up in there. That's a good thing about it. But I want y'all to come down this summer and camp out for a weekend or a week or whatever. And we're not too far from town for you, Jennifer. We have a food line. We have a food line.
Okay.
It's a nice little country town. You blink your eye, you can pass through it.
Oh, okay.
And everything.
That's fine.
Yeah, but I want y'all to experience what's in my area. Daniel's already experienced it. Daniel Benoit of ECBRO, he's an experienced.
Yeah.
Now I want y'all to experience it.
Yeah, I'd love to go with you.
Because each summer it gets more intense. Like back in February, I had two boys from the ECBRO down that night, down that weekend. We had two come down next to camp butts within 60 yards and let out a big, massive two wolves.
Oh, wow.
One
And?
went across the road, one come behind the camp.
Oh, gosh.
Scared the heck
Yeah.
out of them. Yeah. So, I've had a pretty interesting time so far, I've been having trouble getting on here talking to everybody because I'm on the laptop. I can get on my big computer, but it has no camera. Only thing you hear is my voice, but that's in the living room, so I'm on the laptop, and somehow by reading the laptop's been screwing up. It took me like 30 minutes just to get on the chat line with y'all to
Oh,
talk.
wow. Sorry about that.
What I was going to say was that I had a guy contact me. I think it was last month. He contacted a mutual friend of mine, gave her my phone number, and I called this fellow, and we talked for about 45 minutes. He's got some activity going on in his area. He was telling me about it. He said he wanted to talk to somebody about it.
You're in North Carolina, right?
Mississippi.
Mississippi, okay. He's squatchy in Mississippi.
And I'm keeping his area confidential. I don't want anybody to go in there.
No.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, he said that one of these days, if he ever makes it up this way, he's going to take me to his area.
Cool.
But I mean, he's had multiple interactions. He's been screamed at. He's actually trained a rifle with a scope on one. Tempted to shoot it, but he couldn't because he said the face looked too human.
Exactly. It does.
And his mother was so scared that she moved out of the area. She moved to another place until somebody goes in there and gets rid of them, I guess.
It ain't gonna happen.
No, it's not. No. Apparently they've hit the side of the houses and things like that.
Ooh.
And they've stood on one had to stand on the porch to look into the bathroom window. The bathroom window was like 15 feet high, and one had to stand up on the porch to look in the window.
Oh my gosh.
They found muddy footprints on the porch.
Oh, that is creepy.
and then they found where a 100-pound bag of grain feed had been picked up and taken away.
Oh, really?
And also, I think this guy said his brother saw one hauling a deer up a hill.
Yeah.
Well, back in the '60s, on that movie, when that guy said that Squatch come in and crawled and got into his hog pen and carried, I think it was one or two hogs that weighed over 200 pounds apiece, had one under each arm walking away with it. Extremely strong, man.
Oh yeah, Legend of Boggy Creek, yeah.
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 So, yeah, they are that strong, I believe.
Oh yeah, they are. But yeah, this guy, he told me that he's planning on getting some game cams and setting them up out there. So I'm hoping that he'll get something because he says he's got a family unit out there. He says he's seen a large male adult, a female adult, and a juvie.
Oh, sweet. Hey, but let's hope that he has the same luck that Scott had, where one come up and start licking the camera.
Oh yeah.
That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Licking the camera. Mm.
Yeah. If you go to Scott Carpenter and just punch
Oh,
in
yeah, I
Bigfoot
saw.
licking camera,
I
you'll
saw
see
that.
it.
I saw that. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
Yeah.
one must have had a brain problem. But I'll tell you, yeah, keep that guy's place confidential
Yeah.
and see if he can get some photographs. Just like from the cell phone or from a camera. Just like get him to carry his camera around while he's doing his chores out
Mhm.
about in his area.
Yeah, it have it on his shoulder, with it facing the opposite direction, of where he is. That's
Yeah,
what
I got to
Scott
start doing
Carpenter
that.
does.
Yeah.
What you should do is get a GoPro. They have GoPros for sale at Walmart, $129.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to get one.
I don't know if they still have them for sale for $129. That may have been a Christmas thing or a holiday thing.
The last time I saw one in there, it was $329. It was the kind that you could mount right here in your chest.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get one that you can mount on the back of your backpack facing the other way while you walk.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because I
Oh,
always got a backpack on.
before we wrap it up, folks, I do want to send out congratulations to the Cryptozoologist of the Year and Cryptozoology and Bigfoot Book of the Year. Bill Munns won. Lauren Coleman awarded him for Cryptozoologist of the Year and for Cryptozoology and Bigfoot Book of the Year for When Roger Met Patty. So
I love that title. That's a great title.
I know the book is great, by the way,
Oh,
and
good. You
yeah,
read it.
the book is excellent. Yes, I actually have 2 signed copies of it. One is signed by Bill Munns. One is signed by Bill Munns and Bob Gimlin.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah, when I was at Yakima a couple months ago.
You going to the Ohio Conference this year?
Yes, sir.
I might make it up there.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. I'm pretty sure. I'm hoping Paul will be there too, brother Paul.
I haven't seen him. I've left him text messages. I ain't heard nothing from him.
Well, he just
since
you
he-
know
Ever
he's
since he
got
fell in love.
he's got grandkids now too. So
Lucky dog. Pretty little things.
yeah, they're so cute. He's got little girl, little boy.
Oh, he got one of each. He's lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, folks, we want to thank you very much for tuning in tonight, and we're going to be back next Sunday. Probably be at 10. It'll be 11 Eastern, 10 Central, because they're going to have another 2-hour special, and this is going to be in England. They're going to be in England next week.
England.
Hollywood, England, and they're
I've
also
been to England.
they're also going to Scotland.
Oh, Scotland. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that.
To look for Squatch. You've probably heard of the Big Gray Man.
I've heard that before.
They have this entity called the Big Gray Man, which is supposedly a large type, some kind of large creature in the mountains of Scotland. But anyway, yes, we'll be right back here next week at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, and I will be hosting once again the Looking for Bigfoot News Hour, Finding Bigfoot After Show. So we want to say thank you very much for tuning in, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.